Stage 16 features 4 climbs, including the giant Col du Galibier, the Tour's biggest mountain, on its biggest mountain stage. And you know, it's not often that Alpe d'Huez finds itself on the undercard to a bigger fight, but the bad news for Floyd Landis' rivals is that they need to attack. So he's got the lead, a time trial on the penultimate stage, which suits him perfectly, and every chance of picking up for the USA where Lance Armstrong left off. What he doesn't have is your standard cycling background.
There's every reason to suspect that the elders of the Christian Mennonite sect don't have much to say about lurid skin suits and podium girls, and yet one of their own is the favourite to win this year's Tour de France. Floyd Landis grew up in Pennsylvania on the east coast of America, the tall one here with the unmistakable intense gaze. He was the son of devout parents who shunned the modern world and certainly never encouraged him to ride 100 kilometres all night, every night, without any lights, and sometimes wrapped in a bin bag to keep the snow at bay. Yet that's exactly what he did. The young Landis was obsessed. Inevitably, his career eventually took him away from his home and into the world of pro mountain bike racing. He duly became US champion. Yet his transition to road racing was difficult. When US Postal offered him a contract in 2001, his career had not exactly taken off. But he justified Johan Brunel's faith in him by winning a place on the 2003 Tour de France team, where he rode a dutiful race in support of Lance Armstrong.
This is the best team in the world right now, US Postal Service and Lance Armstrong.
Yeah, he was an exceptional human being, and it's not easy when you have 8 guys who are willing to sacrifice everything for you. And all the pressure's on you.
And yet, it was inevitable that Landis would move on. His relationship with Armstrong deteriorated. Both men, by nature leaders, both fervently assured of their own convictions. In the end, there was no room for Floyd Landis in Team Armstrong.
A lot of guys in the peloton have never had that experience, and so it makes it easier for me to try to form a team in the same way.
Phonak and their substantial Swiss bank account came calling. Last year's Tour was a moderate start, allegedly made to look worse by accelerations from Armstrong each time Landis fell back on the big climbs.
Look at the acceleration now coming from Popovic. They know that everybody's on the rivet.
This year, Landis has excelled, winning 3 major races in preparation for the Tour and finally taking yellow in the Pyrenees.
Landis now takes over. Now look at the way he's pedaling. This looks like a Lance Armstrong.
And yet he's done it all with a serious degenerative condition. A fractured hip 3 years ago cut off the blood supply to one hip bone. The tissue has been dying away ever since. The black hole here on the X-ray shows just how little bone remains compared to his healthy left side. After this Tour, and at the age of just 30, he'll be preparing to have a hip replacement. It goes some way to explaining his curious but effective praying Landis position on the time trial bike, which alleviates the pain. It's fast too, by the way. Landis appears now to have the same strengths as Armstrong. He time trials, climbs and rides with bravery and tactical nous. Well, he claims to be virtually pain-free when he pedals and that it's just the walking that hurts. Although I suspect he might just manage the 3 steps to the top of the podium in Paris.
Well, he's got 4 mountains to negotiate today, Floyd Landis, starting with the biggest on this year's Tour, the Col du Galibier at 2,646 metres. If you want to be king of the mountains, the Galibier is definitely one you want for your CV. And Denmark's Michael Rasmussen, the defending champion in the climbing classification, attacked early on. With him were Tadej Valjavec of Slovenia and the Frenchman Sandy Cazard. At least they were until he saw the summit.
This guy is unbelievable.
There he goes.
59 kilos, and he weighs number 58, 28 years of age, former world mountain bike champion. I don't think it's going to be a sprint at the top of this climb, Phil.
No, Michael has accelerated. That's what climbers can do, lift it up a notch and then hold it. And they can do it again if there's a reaction from the riders behind. But this time I think he's done enough. Just a little second kick because Sandy Cazard has still got a bit of fight in him. Maximum points and the €5,000 in the bank. And as he's sponsored by a bank, he'll know where to put it.
It certainly will, into the Rabobank, I expect. Yeah. That brings him up to 93 points. The overall leader at the start of the day, David de la Fuente, had 108. So he's getting just that little bit closer.
Now, climbing's one thing, descending's another, and the Galibier claimed a trio of crash victims on the way down. Floyd Landis' Phonak teammate Martin Pediguero, Christophe Brandt of De Vitamin Lotto, and Agritubel's Manuel Calvente all came off, but all got back on. 4 riders got off for good though, bringing the size of the peloton down to 148. And for a horrible moment, it looked as though Sylvain Chavanel might join them, going down heavily against the safety wall. He remounted though, and none too steadily, with the doctor's car close behind keeping an eye on him. He got on with the race. On the climb of the Col de la Croix de Fer, Levi Leipheimer launched the first attack of the day, directed at Floyd Landis, or at least at a podium place, going off the front of the group containing the yellow jersey and the other big names. Up ahead, meanwhile, the pace being set by Michael Rasmussen was enough to evict Sandy Cazard from the breakaway on the lower slopes of the Croix de Fer. Then suddenly, Valjavich was on his own too, as Rasmussen set off towards the summit.
We swing round the corner shortly and start the drop. It's going to be right on his nose as he heads up towards the summit of the Col de Croix de Fer. Long way down to Saint-Jean-de-Maurienne, and then we've got two more climbs, all waiting for the riders. One just before Saint-Jean, the other one just after.
Well, he's got a massive gap as he comes up to get maximum points in the King of the Mountains here, Phil. And as he crosses this line, he will now become the new leader of the King of the Mountains classification tonight, with 113 points to 108 points for David de la Fuente. So he will be very pleased with his quest.
Rasmussen joined some of the great names like Bartoli, Coppi, Bernard Hinault and Richard Veronk, winner of that climb. Now he's heading down to the next one. This is an awfully cruel day. We haven't seen Valjavich, but he's on the mountain somewhere and should cross in second place. Well, this is a real terrible descent. It's good right now, very fast down here now.
Yeah, but just look over to the left-hand side. You go off the edge of the road here, Phil. There's an awful long way down into the valley below. These rides, they don't even think about it. All they're doing is looking at the lie of the land, looking to see how the land is, and trying to figure out how to go into the corners. He'll also look at the motorbikes in front of him and try and see how much the motorbikes are actually bending and how much they're braking.
Right back on himself here this time. Right round the apex, come out wide. Not too wide. And he gets around quite safely and is dropping away. The reason it's so hairpin is it drops very quickly into the valley. It loses its height alarmingly quickly, the Croix de Fer. And they're just telling us that Valjavich has gone over the summit, but I don't think we have a camera to show you that just at the minute. And he's gone over at 4 minutes of 55 behind Rasmussen.
And these riders are actually only about 30 seconds behind him. I would think if they look down the first couple of descents, they will really see Valjavich in front of them. Now if the three of them get together, that's good. Well, he almost missed that corner. He's not actually going down this descent very well at all. He's a very tall, lanky figure of Michael Rasmussen.
Then David Moncoutier will be the fifth rider across the summit. Here he comes. And at the moment he's going over at 7 minutes and 51 seconds for Moncoutier.
Big gaps today, massive gaps appearing, but we've still got the possibility for it all to change on the final climb of the day. The little bit of a scramble of pink jerseys up through the outside as Giuseppe Guerini was moving forward. Now we'll get a chance to see just how far in front David Moncoutier is and how far behind Michael Rasmussen the yellow jersey group is. There's Floyd Landis riding comfortably. He's got a chance here to keep an eye on everybody. He's going to have to play a very clever game, Phil, over these last couple of climbs of the day as we see the slight acceleration there. 8:24 for the main field. So it really is starting to stretch up for Michael Rasmussen. Col de la Croix de Fer and Marcus Foten still in contention.
Good for him.
And even better for Rasmussen, as he led over the summit of the day's third mountain, the Col du Mollard. He found himself leading the King of the Mountains competition too. With just one climb left up to the finish at La Toussuire, he looked certain to take a great stage win. Behind him, the favourites were all together, knowing that the next 18 kilometres between them and the Tour's final altitude finish could decide the race.
The Battle of La Toussuire has commenced as we leave the town of Saint-Jean-de-Maurienne, and we've seen Landis move up. We've seen Christophe Moreau drop back here along with Stefan Goubert, because we know now there's got to be attacks by whatever strength is left with the strong man in this race.
I tell you what, just a few moments ago it didn't look to me as if Floyd Landis was showing any signs of weakness at all. Sylvain Calzati going back, number 34, winner of the stage, to Lorient. Christophe Moreau just cannot take the pressure of the front of this group. Sandy Cazard, that's not a big surprise. Michael Bogard moving to the front there. Axel Merckx. Axel is finding something special this afternoon.
Well, Axel Merckx is superb here because he's gone right up to the front to try and control the T-Mobile. He has given everything for Floyd Landis. He's the only teammate he's got. He's got control of the head of the race. He'll do this for as long as possible, and then that's the end of Merckx today. and he's riding a race just like his dad used to. And now what's happened here? The split, yes. Leipheimer's gone forward on the climb in a last desperate effort to try and get a stage win out of this. I'm not sure he's got enough time left to catch the leader, but he's taking time back, and his time gains are important because he's looking to move up the overall tonight.
Yes, he's trying to move just that little bit closer to a podium position. He's only got today and tomorrow to think about that, to try and get himself into the top 3 if he can. He's going to try and eat into the advantage of Michael Rasmussen, but I think the only way he's going to catch Rasmussen, Phil, is if Rasmussen actually cracks, and it didn't look to me as if he was going to. There's an acceleration. This is Menchov moving.
Now he's got to reply. This was the danger. No sooner did I call Landis Leipheimer, and now we've got Landis must answer this. He's got to come because Menchov said yesterday, I finished behind, but I didn't crack on Alpe d'Huez, so we've got to chase him down.
He's got to make 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Pereiro is coming across. He only has to make 10 seconds.
No
and there
reaction.
is Leipheimer, and there's no reaction. Cadel Evans is going.
Landis, I've spread the disease to you, Paul. And Landis now has got to react here. These are the attacks. They had to come, and they had to come a long way from the finish. And now they're really revving this one up as Rogers has got on board here. Sastre has got on board.
Well,
is it Sastre?
No, that's
Pereiro.
That's Pereiro's got across there. This is
he's the new
Menchov.
leader on the tour right now, in fact.
Right now, he just needs 10 seconds. Cadel Evans has seen the danger. Jose Acevedo has come across from Team Discovery. And maybe he wasn't having a great day this afternoon, Floyd Landis, at 15 kilometers to go. He needs to find a little bit of rhythm to ride himself back into this race. But let's not forget, he starts the day with a 2 minute, 12 seconds advantage over Menchov, but only 10 seconds over Pereiro. Pereiro is not going to give up.
Well, what a turnaround for the man who was 28 minutes behind, gets the jersey by a breakaway of half an hour, and now he's looking like a man who can win the Tour again. And he said after he got the jersey, I can win this Tour, and everybody just smiled. Look at this now.
Well, they'll be smiling on their other side of the faces this afternoon if he's back in the yellow jersey at the end of this afternoon. So there he is. Michael Rogers was trying to set this up for his man Andreas Kloden, and all of a sudden Andreas Kloden didn't respond either. T-Mobile putting a lot of pressure now onto this race, but it's the wrong man for as far as they're concerned, but it's the right man. 2 Australians in the group because Cadel Evans has come now. They're starting to pace it back with Kloden.
Here's the reaction, and Leipheimer peddling rather memories of Landis, rather peddling rather like Lance Armstrong on the climb. Low gear, and he's got a good help there. But the 2 riders who are on the front really shouldn't be doing this because they've got Rogers here.
Well, don't you remember a situation last year when Alexander Vinokurov went off the front of the race, and all of a sudden it was not a question of riding for the team, it was a question of riding for T-Mobile and for Germany and Jan Ullrich, and they chased down their own teammate, Michael Bogert, going off the back of the group here.
Out.
But
well, it'd
strangely,
be an irony, Paul, if Floyd Landis goes and gets back into this race because of team tactics from T-Mobile.
well, it really is rather bizarre because Andreas Kloden has asked Eddie Mazzolini to come up and set the pacemaking here. Landis could be riding himself back in, and he's back up to his closest challengers here, and he's back into the yellow jersey for the moment.
All together again, first attack, and he's got back, and it's all been nullified. So Floyd Landis can breathe again. All back status quo, and the exact time gaps stay exactly the same as they were this morning. Continuing to battle on the col here. They've certainly got the players, T-Mobile, but when they don't race for each other, and we've seen that evidence right now, they're not such a big danger.
Well, they're not such a big danger. They really need to get themselves sorted out. They haven't got very many more kilometers on today's stage to mount an assault on Floyd Landis. They saw a little bit of weakness there, and in fact, strangely enough, it was T-Mobile that pulled Floyd Landis right back up to the back wheel of Denis Menchov. But this man still surviving. You see that church up there? Well, sadly to say, there's still about 10 kilometers to go to the finish from there.
Yes, we thought it was the top last night. David Arroyo is also in trouble now. And there goes another attack.
Carlos Sastre.
Yes, Sastre's going. He's the climber on the team. He's the man who's the protected CSC rider. This is a very determined move now. Where's the reaction going to come from?
Well, if they want to move, they need to move now. Sastre looking for 2 minutes and 17 seconds, and it's T-Mobile on the front, picking up the pace, trying to pull him back. It was a very good move by this man. He is an excellent mountain climber. He's won mountaintop finishes in the Tour before, and they're going to have to do something special. And Landis is cracked, Phil. Landis is going off the back.
Landis is having a bad day, and we've got confirmation of that now, and this is coming with 10 kilometers to go. Floyd Landis is going to have to live to fight another day in the Alps tomorrow if this all goes wrong. Acevedo's just behind him. That was a huge attack by Carlos Sastre. Pereira already will be the leader on the road.
Well, Oscar Pereira will be the man in yellow at the end of this afternoon. As we can see now, Floyd Landis is having a bad day. He's got a company of here, Jose Acevedo, but he really has cracked. And look at the gap that Carlos Sastre has got over the front end of the group. Now T-Mobile, from being the team's strongest from a tactical point of view, now, Phil, are back on the defensive.
Well, Carlos Sastre needs 2 minutes and 17 seconds. There's no time bonuses ahead of him at the moment because 3 riders are in front. So he's got to catch if he wants a small time bonus as well. But look at this, the lonely world of the leader now. How ironic to be escorted by number 1, the number 1 for the last 7 years by Lance Armstrong. As now Carlos Sastre, CSC, are turning this race around. They lead on the team, they won at Alpe d'Huez, and now they're looking for a race gap that will give him a yellow jersey.
Well, he's actually looking at 2:07 because it looks very much as if he's going to try and take the lead away now. Menchov decides, I'm not having this, I've got to get myself back into the race. The race is being decided by Latoussuire, and Floyd Landis mustn't panic in a situation like this, Phil. He's got to try and ride and got to find a rhythm because this race is very much far from over. We've still got a very long individual time trial on Saturday and another very difficult day in the Alps as well tomorrow with 5 passes to go over.
And now the strength of a team, T-Mobile, driving at the front now as they try to ride, and still the riders pass. Marcus Foten goes by him there.
You just saw, I think that was Christian Vande Velde looking over his shoulder and say, well, what's happened? What's gone wrong there?
Yes, it was Christian was it Frank Schleck, I think? Paul knows Frank Schleck, who's just gone by him with Marcus Foten. We're having a bit of a problem with Frank Schleck and Christian Vande Velde at the moment.
Well, Floyd Landis is having a bit of a problem too. He just cannot get up this climb. This is one climb too far for Floyd Landis here this afternoon. From that group of favourites there, the man who will pull on the yellow jersey at the end of the day, as long as he stays in contact with everybody else, is Oscar Pereira, because he's got 1 minute and 50 seconds advantage over everybody else in that group, and he now is going to look like a serious...
We've Sastre's picked up Leipheimer and drives on. Leipheimer must be a little bit surprised where this man has come from, but now he's got him, he's going to go with him, and he's also pulling away. You know, in the strangeness of this race, you could find Landis sitting in Leipheimer's overall position tonight of 9th.
You have absolutely no idea how this race is going to turn upside down, but what an incredible cracking of the yellow jersey. There was no indication at all in his pedaling style on the slopes of the first few kilometers. He looked fairly comfortable. Axel Merckx was talking to him. Then all of a sudden the rupture appeared and he's cracked, and he's now just trying to survive the final 10 kilometers. But he could be looking at a huge time gap on today's stage. And funnily enough, as we go up to the top here and look at Michael Rasmussen, who's still 3.5 minutes ahead of Levi Leipheimer and Carlos Sastre. He is hurting, but he should be able to hold on to that. Well, it's amazing to remember that Oscar Pereira, Phil, lost 5 minutes on this climb in the Dauphiné Libéré. Now he could turn it into 5 minutes advantage.
It is an incredible tour. It's swinging around. It's not going to be finished tonight either. I will guarantee that. Where will the next leader come from? Tomorrow is another vicious day in the Tour de France, and if it all comes out level tomorrow, there's a long time trial to decide it on Saturday. These 2 riders now, looking at the face there of Michael Rasmussen, I think he's cracked. These 2 are going to go for him.
They're going to try. They've still got to look for 3.5 minutes. Michael Rasmussen, you can't blame him for looking a little bit ragged. He's been at the front of this race since the start of the climb of the Col du Galibier. T-Mobile, this is a strong, solid team. Everybody now slowly but surely riding past the yellow jersey.
Villa.
He just cannot lift it at all.
He's completely gone mentally and physically. Patsy Villa has gone by.
Isn't that funny? Patsy Villa is the man who beat Floyd Landis on a stage of Paris-Nice this year when Floyd Landis went to take the overall lead. Patsy Villa second in Paris-Nice, Floyd Landis first, and now he's just lifting himself to stay in contact.
The 3 riders here are Claude, Mazzolini and Rogers on your picture there. T-Mobile are the team, and they are still delivering the big blows here. The attacks aren't finished yet because there's still 5 kilometers to go to the finish, and Mazzolini's got back to the front of this group. They still,
Rogers.
it looks like Mike Rogers is in a little bit of trouble at the back.
Yeah, he's gone backwards. I think he paid there. In fact, Carlos Sastre has gone straight past Levi Leipheimer as well. Now we're looking at 5.2 kilometers to go for the leader of the race. 3.5 minutes back to Carlos Sastre, and now Levi Leipheimer's lights seem to be going out.
Now we're looking at the Maillot Jaune here. Is he able to pick it up even a bit to try and reduce his losses, to live to fight another day? There's 2 good days, 1 day tomorrow and the time trial. It's not over yet. Well, this wasn't meant to be. Leipheimer seemed to be going so well, but this last climb has cracked him as well. Boy, is he going to have a shock when he doesn't see the yellow jersey of Floyd Landis in this group about to catch him.
Well, he will be very surprised to see this now. Andries Kloden moving away. There you can see the way Denny Menchov just didn't have it there, but Oscar Pereiro does. Accelerating straight across the gap there. Christophe Moreau in difficulty now. He's slipping off the back. This looks like Caccioli as well, going backwards.
Leader of the Crédit Agricole, he has gone. Leipheimer tried to hook up at least here to one wheel of Denny Menchov. What's that? Menchov in trouble as well.
Everybody suffering.
Blown up on the climb. But
Cyril
Dessel is
Dessel.
going. There's leaving just 3 riders here. This was the effort by Andries Kloden himself. And Pereiro, the limpet he is just hung on in there.
Well, Cadel Evans hanging on at the back there as well, trying to climb himself back into this bicycle race here at the Tour de France. Oscar Pereiro, Phil, does not look in any kind of difficulty at all. This is the last couple of kilometers of the steep part of the climb. Once they go through here, they're not going to get rid of Pereiro on a gradient of 3 or 4%. I can't imagine that the man who lost 30 minutes in the Pyrenees is going to go on to win the Tour de France.
He's going to go on to lead it, we can say that for sure. If he doesn't crack here, Menchov is dropping away. Menchov could be losing his 4th overall here. Sastre's going to take that away from him at least, and Sastre probably will be up into 2nd place in the Tour de France tonight. And the way he's setting the tempo at the front, the new leader will be Oscar Pereiro. There is the kite, the Flamme Rouge, the red flame. 1 kilometer to go for a rider who conquered the Col de Galibier. He conquered the Croix de Fer. He conquered the Col de Molar. Now he's going to win the stage at La Toussaint. He's going to sweep everything before him today, Michael Rasmussen. He's going to be the king of the mountains for sure, and he's going to win the stage.
And the team will be able to say, well, thank you very much, Michael. We're sorry we didn't let you fly away a little bit earlier, because this was what he wanted to do. He's wanted to do this on every mountain stage, but they felt that their man Denny Menchov had the winnings of the Tour de France this afternoon. Well, that maybe wasn't the case. He's going to have to come out and change his tactics, and thank goodness they managed to let this man go away and give us a formidable show on the roads of the Alps this afternoon.
And now, as Michael Rasmussen heads for victory, Carlos Sastre continues to race for time. Time that may today, but could tomorrow, give him the lead in the Tour de France. Michael Rasmussen is the champion of the Tour de France today in the best possible manner. He's going to be a tired boy tonight, and he's got to do it all again tomorrow. But that hurt towards the end, and I would suggest by the look on his face, it has really hurt towards the end. He wins the stage, and the proudest moment comes for Denmark as well. Rolf Sørensen said this morning, Michael has got tremendous form if they let him use it. He just used it.
I tell you what, that was a lot of pain this man went through this afternoon. He's dragged his body over the biggest mountains of this year's Tour de France. They had to catch him at the finish line there, because otherwise I think he was going to fall away from the win. There on 2nd place on the road, Carlos Sastre. I don't think he's going to get the yellow jersey this afternoon. He's only 30 seconds ahead of a group of 3 riders containing the man who will be the yellow jersey at the end of the day, and that is Oscar Pereiro.
This will give him 2nd place in the Tour de France, though, because the only man he can't reach is Pereiro, who was only 10 seconds behind Floyd Landis. And so we're looking at two French riders, an Italian here, but that's not the race. They're a long way back. Here comes Carlos Sastre up to the line. The clock will start when he crosses the line, and I think the result, Paul, he'll be 2nd tonight behind Pereiro.
Yep, he needs a lot of time to get himself the overall lead. We don't have to worry about that, as this man Carlos Sastre comes up to the line. He's not going to take the overall lead because the riders challenging him are right behind. He needs an awful lot of time, more than 2 minutes, to take the lead away from Oscar Pereiro, and Oscar Pereiro is only 30 seconds behind.
That won't happen, but he will stay ahead of Kloden, and Menchov and Dessel are in big trouble, as well as Landis. So Sastre should be climbing to 2nd, and then he may have enough time left to try and get over Pereiro in the days behind. this race, instead of opening up, is actually closing down with one more day to go in the Alps.
And what kind of a day is that going to be as this man comes up to the line and stops the clock for him, second place, but he'll be looking over his shoulder to see where are the rest. Well, I can tell you they're not too far behind, because Oscar Pereira is going to take a time bonus as well.
This man is feeling the magnetism of the race lead. He's back in the maillot jaune. What an incredible finish. They almost caught Sastre as well. Evans and Cloden in that order.
Well, he'll pick up an 8-second time bonus. That's not what is important to him, but what he will do is extend his lead over Denis Menchov and Cadel Evans. These are the next riders on the road. A good ride, really. A good recovery by Christophe Moreau coming in there with Cyril Dessel and Pietro Cauchioli, the Italian rider in the green shorts at the back there. Cyril Dessel, for me, has done a phenomenal ride here in the Tour de France. Well, I didn't expect him to hold on.
He will still hold on to third place, I think. He'll just have Pereiro and Sastre ahead of him. So despite the reshuffle, he should be still sitting in third tonight.
The question was, where was Floyd Landis going to be sitting as the clock ticked past 9 minutes on the time of the winner, perhaps not even in the top 10.
Floyd Landis being brought all the way to the line to the best of his ability by Axel Merckx here, and at 9 minutes, and it'll be just on 10. This is a dramatic collapse by a leader of the Tour de France in any measure of means. But Floyd Landis fought desperately, but we were very worried when he slipped to the back of that group midway up the climb.
Well, in Floyd's absence, there's the story of the stage in time gaps. Michael Rasmussen, a brilliant solo winner, a minute 40 head of Carlos Sastre. Oscar Pereiro at 1 minute 54, leading home Cadel Evans and Andreas Klöden by a couple of seconds and picking up the time bonus for third. Christophe Moreau rounded out the top 6 as he paced his teammate Cyril Dessel to the finish. Dessel himself was 8th in the same time, 2 minutes 37. Then the gaps widened. Levi Leipheimer on the attack, then falling back. He lost 3 minutes 24. Denis Menchov and Michael Rogers 3:42. And the big loser of this or any other recent tour, Floyd Landis, 23rd, over 10 minutes down on the winner, and over 8 minutes on most of his rivals. Well, we saw Michael Rasmussen do this in 2005. There's nothing better than a king of the mountains who tackles his territory with panache. His heroics gave him a 45-point lead in that competition, and almost certainly the title for the second year running. He'd been shackled for most of the race by his obligations to Denis Menchov. While the hug from the Rabobank team manager Eric Breukink showed approval after the fact, Ned started with the question everyone wanted the answer to.
You've deserved that from your director sportif. What you did today, was it done with the blessing and the understanding and the cooperation of the team, or was it Michael Rasmussen all alone?
Well, until now I've been following team tactics and riding in the service of Menchov, and I've done so voluntarily because he was a contender for the yellow jersey. After yesterday, it did not go very well for the team, and we had to talk about it. And I told my sports director that tomorrow I'm going to do it my way, and it worked out well.
And you did it. And what does this jersey mean to you? Because we saw it last year, we see it now. It means so much to you, this King of the Mountains jersey.
Well, I believe I'm the rightful owner of it in this Tour de France, as well as it was last year. So yes. I think it's mine.
Not everybody, though, was being so proprietorial about their jerseys. The previous Saturday, Oscar Pereiro had been gifted the race lead by Floyd Landis on a temporary basis. On this stage, he took it forcibly, perhaps for good. His big rivals now seem to be Carlos Sastre in second place, a minute 50 behind, and Andreas Klöden third at 2:29.
Today was important. Tomorrow is another day, really hard. And he's going step by step. Now it's important to recover for tomorrow, and we will see what's going to happen.
Wir müssen ja natürlich immer schauen, wie die Beine sind. Also es wird natürlich von Tag zu Tag immer schwerer jetzt. Wenn sich die Möglichkeit ergibt am letzten Berg, dann werden wir sicherlich nochmal attackieren, weil ich glaube 2 Minuten 30 im Zeitfahren rauszuholen gegen den Oscar Pereiro ist eigentlich sehr, sehr schwer, denke ich mal. Und wenn man die Zeit noch ein bisschen abknabbern könnte jetzt morgen, dann wäre es sicherlich noch mehr möglich.
Outside the top 6, podium hopes were growing fainter by the placing. Michael Rogers, 6 minutes 47 off the lead. Christophe Moreau, 7:03, and Levi Leipheimer, 7 minutes 46. With the faintest of all, the man who reckoned he only had to defend to win it. Floyd Landis was 8 minutes 8 in arrears now after leading the race at the start of the stage. This man, though, had shown no signs of tactical sophistry, just hard riding that bordered on the heroic, with the potential result, the biggest surprise Tour win in recent memory. It's stage 17, the final day in the Alps, and suddenly this Tour is the most fascinating one we've seen since the centenary edition of 2003, for very different reasons though. That was a battle between acknowledged giants of cycling. This could see the biggest outsider to win the Tour for half a century. Now, understandably, it's the drama on the slopes of La Toussuire yesterday that's garnering all the headlines, but the source of the excitement can be traced back to the fine print of a slow, almost soporific Saturday afternoon. In the baking heat of the Massif Central on stage 13, the yellow jersey was weighing heavy on Floyd Landis. He didn't like the media obligations that went with it, or the way everyone looked to his Phonak team to control the race. So when a break went containing nobody higher than his old teammate Oscar Pereiro, 46th in the standings and 28 minutes 50 down, Phonak had an idea. Let this nobody take the lead for a few days. He could wear the jersey like a body double to distract the cameras, ease the pressure on Landis, and the race favourite could take it back for good in the Alps when it mattered. The other contenders' teams evidently concurred. Nobody chased, and by the end of stage 13, they'd given Pereiro 30 minutes and 9 seconds. The French press howled its disapproval at such disrespect for the Maillot Jaune. But when Landis duly called in his loan on stage 15 to Alpe d'Huez, even the critics gave him the benefit of the doubt with the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah, I was sure it was a good decision at the time. I didn't need hindsight.
With his speciality, the time trial, coming up the day before Paris, all Landis had to do was defend. And on the final climb to La Toussuire yesterday, all his defences crumbled.
Landis is cracked, Phil. Landis is going off the back.
When the yellow jersey cracks, the other big names quickly capitalise. But when Andreas Kloeden, Cadel Evans and Carlos Sastre checked to see who'd made the final cut, they saw Oscar Pereiro, the man they'd all gifted half an hour to last Saturday. The race favourites had succeeded in getting rid of the leader, but none of them would be taking over.
How the pressure point in this race has shifted as yesterday the yellow jersey was wrenched from Landis' shoulders. I wonder if Oscar Pereiro lay awake half the night wondering how on earth it came to pass. And as fate would have it, by the way, Landis and Pereiro shared the same hotel. Difficult to know, in fact, who was the more bemused, the punters watching on or the man in yellow who emerged blinking into the sunlight. Oscar, one question. What can you expect today?
I don't know. Only things go to race and after it's possible to speak a little more.
Defend though, maybe.
Yes, it's normal. Today is the last day on the mountain and it's sure the team is worked to limits and I like the finish is well for us.
Well done. Good luck.
Thank you.
Then his former team leader and yesterday morning's race leader appeared seconds later, all in grey, but still smiling and still ambitious. George, you can have another go today, maybe an attack?
Yeah, why not?
Nothing else to lose, eh? Give it another go?
Yeah, I'd like to win a stage. I'll try today, and if not, I'll try in the time trial, see what happens.
The applause on his way to the team bus clearly adding a skip to his painful steps. But it was Pereiro's bus which pulled out first on their way down to the start. So with Landis eager to go on the offensive, Pereiro desperate to defend what he's got, and a handful of other riders keen to make up time, this stage is going to be restless and breathless.